think Dr. Ahmed Hashash, you're up next. And Dr. Ahmed Hashash has completed his PhD from Manchester University, UK. He was a fellow of the California Institute of Regenerative Medicine and New York University Medical School in USA. Dr. Ahmed Hashash has worked as a senior biomedical research scientist at Mount Sinai School of Medicine of New York University. He was assistant professor and principal investigator of stem cell and regenerative medicine at Keck School of Medicine and Ostro School of Dentistry of the University of Southern California. And in 2017, Dr. Hashash has joined the University of Edinburgh's Zhejiang University Institute of Biomedicine as tenure-track associate professor of biomedicine in stem cell and regenerative medicine. His field of specialty is lung stem cell biology and regenerative medicine. Now, without further ado.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me? Can you see my presentation?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, thank you so much for your presentation. And I'm going to talk about the improving the assessment and monitoring of student learning as ZJE. What are the solutions and the strategies which we follow to face the challenges of COVID-19 pandemic? ZJE is the Zhejiang University of Edinburgh institution. So how can I move it? Okay. So here is the content of my presentation. I'm going to briefly introduce the purpose of monitoring and assessment. Then I'm going to describe the implication of pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic for monitoring and assessment system and practice as ZJE. What are the challenges for student and the challenge for teacher, and also the challenge for ZJE Institute itself. Finally, I will finish my talk with the solution and strategy or approaches which we follow to face these challenges during COVID-19 pandemic. So, as you know, the assessment of student learning is a process of gathering and evaluating information on what students know and what they understand, and what can we do to make the informed decision about the next step in their education process. Monitoring and assessment can provide the teacher and the student with information about the student current knowledge and progress, and it can encourage student involvement and participation. Also, the monitoring process can help the student to get most benefit, of course, by carefully observing the student and suggesting change to the course they are learning. So the process of monitoring and assessment must take an account of the environment in which the course should be used, the need of the student, and also the principle of learning. There are different types of monitoring and assessment: diagnostic assessment, student self-assessment, and short-term achievement assessment. Diagnostic assessment aims to find the gaps between student knowledge so that something can be done to improve that. While student self-assessment involves students working with checklists to indicate the area of their strengths and weaknesses. In case of short-term achievement assessment, it aims to determine if the students are making sufficient progress and how can we motivate them. So let us now focus about the implication of COVID-19 pandemic on the assessment and monitoring as ZJE. As ZJE, similar to other institutions, we use in-course assessment and examination to generate the final mark of the student. We use formative assessment and summative assessment. Formative assessment aims to monitor student learning and skills, while and also they provide feedback to improve student future performance. Summative assessment aims to evaluate student learning. Prior to COVID-19 pandemic, all modality of learning and assessment are dependent on the student physical presence. Indeed, COVID-19 pandemic creates several challenges for the assessment and monitoring system as ZJE. These are challenges for students to maintain achievement of learning, and there are some challenges for teachers and also challenges for ZJE Institute itself. So here is some challenges for our students. Like other institutions, shifting to remote learning as ZJE creates several challenges. Since students should redevelop skills for using ICT technology and should have some degree of autonomy for self-learning and self-motivation. In fact, some of the students at our institution and other institutions, especially freshmen, may not have such skills of using ICT technology, and also they may not yet have developed the sufficient autonomy for self-learning. Also, some of our students, again, similar to other institutions, suffer from different level of isolation and distance. And we have some disengagement of off-campus students, and both undergraduate and postgraduate students couldn't complete their research project because this practice is dependent on the access to research laboratory, which are not available during the COVID-19 pandemic. There was also a challenge for ZJE teachers similar to other institutions, because shift in the course delivery creates challenges for ZJE teachers. For example, remote online delivery and assessment are novel experience for some teachers, especially junior teachers or junior faculty. Also, the new protocol for hybrid and blended learning requires the teacher to have specific digital competencies and also to have experience in applying the assessment and monitoring practice. They should change their practice and response rapidly, and they should develop new approach to monitor student learning, such as formative and summative assessment. All of them were challenging, especially for junior faculty. Also, there are some other challenges for ZJE teachers similar to other institutions. For example, there is a limited experience on digital learning platform and resource at home. I was one of the faculty who spent several months in teaching from home, and I was indeed in need for some technical support. Also, we have reduced time for teacher-directed learning process, because as ZJE, we focus on self-learning in some courses. And similar to other institutions, there was some difficulty in determining whether students are making the expected progress or whether there are a gap between expectation and actual learning. Also, we have challenges of supervising undergraduate and postgraduate research project, and most of our faculty can't run their research project due to the COVID-19 pandemic. For ZJE institution, also we face several challenges because the changes were rapid, and the major shift in ZJE learning culture create several challenges. For example, there was a need to develop learning resource through the non-traditional challenges, such as digital platform. Also, we have more challenges in evaluating the student progress, and the pandemic has had an impact on the international student mobility and learning. This was a big problem because we need more equity consideration in learning was needed between the on-campus and off-campus students. In addition to that, in some institutions, the shift on online instruction might affect the safeguarding of academic integrity and assessment security. We know that invigilated assessment is more secure, but this one was not an option during the pandemic. So let us now talk about the solution and strategy which we followed as ZJE to face these challenges. The pandemic impact on learning necessitates the development of alternative approach for monitoring and assessment of students as ZJE. And these approaches aim to prioritize effective digital formative assessment and to provide teachers with guided and more guidance and training, and to provide more effective student-teacher interaction, and also to provide more support to off-campus students. So for formative assessment, we know that formative assessment is particularly critical during COVID-19 pandemic because of limited face-to-face classes, and we have more challenges in evaluating student progress. In addition to that, self-learning method with few teacher interaction was difficult and was challenging for freshman students. So what we did at ZJE, we have more effective formative assessment components which are integrated throughout the online platform. We also use communication tools such as Zoom, Microsoft Teams, and also NMS such as Moodle as a platform to allow teacher and student interaction. We use both synchronous and asynchronous method of formative assessment to determine student progress. We also effectively use digital formative assessment as a tool to manage student progress, and we ensure that all the assessments are very constructive and specific to the need of our student. Another approach or strategy we followed during the COVID-19 pandemic is to provide our teacher and the student with the required guidance and training. This training aims to develop the overall assessment competence of teachers, for example, through organizing different workshops on assessment marking and moderation. And also it aims to develop digital competence that allow teachers to function multiple learning environment. For students, the digital skills are embedded across the curriculum, so the students are already familiar with the online learning modality and assessment. Another or a third approach which we follow to face the challenge of COVID-19 pandemic is to provide more effective teacher-student interaction as ZJE. This happens through the face-to-face and virtual meeting or by text note. Also, we have discussion board for lecture and assessment, which facilitates the interaction between the student and teacher. And some of my colleagues, Megan Stephen and Joan Morai, has organized or run the student hours on Friday every week. And this student hours aim to again facilitate the direct interaction between the student and teacher. So student can ask a question directly to their teacher and the course organizer. Also, we have another strategy, which is to provide more support to off-campus student learning as ZJE. And this aim to, and this by providing effective interaction and engagement and follow-up with off-campus student by the senior academic tutor and advisor, and also by providing more support to off-campus student learning in order to ensure equity in learning between on-campus and off-campus students. Actually, equity was critical to decision on alternative assessment because, for example, because we need to ensure that on-campus and off-campus are receiving the same quality of learning. For example, summative assessment were designed to ensure equity between on-campus and off-campus students. Finally, at some institutions, we have a problem, or will have a problem in safeguarding academic integrity during the COVID-19 pandemic. But actually, ZJE has a rich and successful practice in detecting, initiating, and also in safeguarding academic integrity in digital domain by using high-tech tools to detect academic misconduct, and also by using specific software to detect plagiarism, and also by applying innovative assessment design, and by disseminating information to teachers on academic integrity. That's it, and thank you so much for your listening.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hashash. Are there any questions?
Any question?
Oh, in the chat from Melanie has a question.
Yeah.
Oh, we can look at the question from the chat first.
Oh, I think in the chat was from the last time.
Oh, okay. Then I go ahead with my question. Can you give an example, maybe from your course, of a formative assessment that was introduced as a response to the online learning with COVID? Just so we have sort of an idea of, you know, the kind of thing you can do.
I mean that we have formative assessment for this course from for example HED HG3A or ABMS2 course. We have it for 2 and 3 years now. But I mean that we make sure that it is available and for off-campus students to ensure equity between them and the on-campus student. So they have the same right of learning and performance between both sides.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
On that, I think they really have been trying to make it easier for the students off campus, because I'm one of those students off campus. So many of the things scheduled, like classes and such, are at my time at maybe 2 a.m. And so I cannot attend. But then what they've done so far is to record them so that I can just watch them later rather than needing to attend live at 2 a.m.
And I think that's a particular challenge because most of the students are back on campus now.
Yeah.
So it's a particular challenge to still find ways that, you know, the on-campus student gets something out of the on-campus experience, but at the same time, the off-campus students are disadvantaged. So it's quite a difficult, I find it quite a difficult balance to strike. I don't know what people from other institutions, what experiences they have had with that.
Are there any more questions?
Just following from what Melanie said, yeah, I think even today, good example where I still have a few off-campus students as we're preparing for a debate, particularly interactive sort of setting to try and include off-campus students. And of course, it's so easy for them to just, I mean, they were texting me saying, could we just provide information for other students to then use our information themselves? And it's something, of course, that I was eager that they didn't do by default, that they should be playing a full participant role in the debate, but it does provide technical challenge to try and integrate that seamlessly into an otherwise live debate where everyone is present. So yeah, but it's whether the teacher's going to be lazy or not. You know, it does take facilitation to include the off-campus students, and it's almost easier by forgetting, you know, either by mistaken forgetting them or just feeling that your major focus is just on those that are physically present. It's a danger, and I think I have to keep waking myself up not to miss them out in that kind of thing.
Dr. Dagwa Lee has a question.
Okay, can I ask for a bit more background about the students based at ZJE? To what extent have they been taught face-to-face and online? So is a student allowed to stay away from the campus in Zhejiang all through the year? They have a free choice, or is there a general requirement that they need to be studying at the Zhejiang, campus?
Yeah, I think we still have some international students which, because of the travel restrictions, they can't come back.
Yeah, like
so
I have
it is not their choice. I myself, I came back from abroad in October, but everything was okay. But for other countries, there is a travel restriction, so it is not their choice. It is not their choice, and therefore we are doing our best to reach them and to ensure that we have equity in learning between on-campus and off-campus students. Of course, it's not the same. We are doing our best to make it the same, but again, it is out of our control to bring the student to our institution.
I think in general, to add on to that, we want most of the students on campus, but like you said, it's not possible. For example, I can't get a visa, so I'm just unable to go back. So I'm in the United States right now rather than in China.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was able to get back, but only after spending the best part of a year in the UK. So I've kind of experienced both sides. But it seems like, from my experience in currently, about 90% plus of students are back. It's just a couple of international students that are still stuck out.
Thank you.
I have a question. From the discussion board, I noticed Ding Talk is very new for you. So what software you use to do the live teaching or online conference?
We use Blackboard. We're using Blackboard.
Oh,
For discussion board, we are using Blackboard.
Oh, but for the live teaching.
Live teaching, we're using different team. For example, Team and Zoom.
Oh, Zoom, okay.
And WebEx as well.
Microsoft Teams.
Yep.
Oh.
And I think Liz Weidling is the one that asked that question. Liz, what software have you been using?
Because in Zhejiang University, all students and instructors, all they use Ding Talk last year. Like now, like in my graduate courses, there are still some international students, they cannot come to China. So still we use Ding Talk to do the live teaching. Still we use Ding Talk.
We'll help to get some training in using this software. I think we need it here also. So if we can get some training as ZJE, it will be very good for us as international faculty.
Oh, I can give the such feedback to our the Department of Faculty Training.
Yes, but please in English, please.
It looks like Dr. Campbell also said it's the same for their training about Ding Talk, that it was all in Chinese. So I guess it's a common issue.
And also, you use learning in ZJE platform, right? Do you use
I have it, but it is in Chinese. So I don't use it. I know it, but I can't use it because it's in Chinese.
Again, I think we maybe shouldn't be too. I think we're maybe erring too much into territory that's very ZJE specific here. So maybe we can leave that for a later discussion and move on to our next speaker.